It's deadline day for the Biden administration's ultimatum to Texas Governor Greg Abbott. They're demanding the state allow federal agents to remove razor wire border barriers. But Texas is responding, come and take it. Setting up a very high stakes battle in court. One Governor Abbott insists Texas can win. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno, and joining me today, Fox and Friends First co-host Carly Shimkus, Fox News contributor Lisa Booth, Fox News contributor and president of American Spirit Enterprises Tammy Bruce, and Fox News contributor, attorney, and retired NYPD inspector Paul Morrow. Now, the GOP governors of 25 states, half of the union, have now voiced their support for Texas and Governor Abbott. Here are two of those governors on the Faulkner Focus last hour.
This is a no-brainer. Every state now is a border state. When you have Joe Biden's Democratic opponent saying this is outrageous and out of control at the border, when you have Democratic mayors across the country that are saying this is outrageous and something's got to be done, and the Republican governors, we have been standing in solidarity for well over a year, couple years now on the disaster at the border. I've been down there 4 times myself. The White House and Joe Biden just obviously doesn't get it, or they don't care.
There is no word to describe this except invasion. The open border policy of the Biden administration is making every state a border state, as Governor Kemp said, and it's time for the administration to step up and do their job. That's why it was not a question about whether we were going to stand with Governor Abbott in protecting the southern border.
Meanwhile, Democrats are calling for President Biden to escalate the developing standoff and seize control of the Texas National Guard. Here's the White House's response on that.
Some Democrats are saying the president needs to federalize the Texas National Guard.
So look,
is that something that could happen?
I mean, look, I'll say this. The Border Patrol agents are now, as you said, allowed to cut through the wire because of what the Supreme Court has laid out. It's unfortunate that we had to go there. It's unfortunate that there is a governor in Texas, Governor Abbott, who has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border. And it's not making people's lives safer. It's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job.
Paul, her talking points fall so flat in the face of all those risking their lives to secure the border. And when she talks about what's unfortunate, well, it's not unfortunate, it is tragic. And what is tragic is the Biden administration's lack of enforcement of policies that created this crisis, that now Texas is just trying to protect herself. And the question remains, the Biden administration has ignored all of those border states, and therefore now all 50 states who've become border states. Why are they trying to collaborate now?
It's really, I tell you, it's become a parody. I could listen to her all day, because look, they have got themselves into a situation that they really wish they were not in. They own this now, and it's really a lot simpler than they're conveying. When they came in, they undid Remain in Mexico out of spite. It was just an anti-Trump measure, and that's it. Now they own it. But as easy as it was to undo Remain in Mexico, it is just as easy to put it back in place. It's essentially an executive order. Biden only needs a pen and a phone to use Obama's line. And they really are complicating this for political purposes because they're stuck. Every state is now a border state, as you say. They know they're going into an election year. Federalizing the Texas National Guard, you know what that's going to look like just optically for the voting people, the electorate in this country? It's just the kind of thing they don't want leading into an election. It's a stressor on our institutions that it's going to be really palpable. And unfortunately, they have painted themselves into this corner. They own it. What Abbott should be doing as they take down this razor wire, obviously he's putting it back up, but he should be taking migrants. Why just New York? Bust them to D.C., bust them to the front of SCOTUS, bust them to swing states. Put them in Atlanta so that these people, when they go to vote, see what they're getting.
And Lisa, let's talk about this. Half the country or more is behind Texas's decision and their actions, not just legally, as legal experts have weighed in and judges and the like, but also a lot of other governors and attorneys general. So, for example, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, she says, I'm so proud of what Texas is doing. We are right there with them. We'll do everything we can to make sure this invasion stops. What message does that send to this administration?
Well, I mean, it sends a message that the states are asserting their rights, right? I mean, I made this argument on this show a year ago that I wanted conservative states to band together in a Freedom Caucus type way to fight against a federal government that's become too centralized, too big, and that has failed in, its interest to Americans, to protecting Americans. And that's what's happened. I mean, we have a federal government that has failed to protect us from an invasion, failed to enforce existing federal law, and then now is trying to undermine Texas's right to fulfill its constitutional duty to defend its borders and to defend its sovereignty. And so that's where we are now. But I've been wrestling with this broader concept, which I think this all begs the question of, are we still a country? Right? Because the Constitution is supposed to be the supreme law of the land. And how many Americans have any reverence for it anymore? How many lawmakers have any reverence for the Constitution anymore? We're supposed to have sovereign borders. We're supposed to be a sovereign nation. We no longer defend them. We're supposed to be a nation of laws, and we no longer. So, what is holding America together, and are we still even a country?
And why does action seem to only happen, or at a minimum rhetoric, right around elections?
Yeah. Well, because timing in politics is everything in this country and throughout the world. And speaking of elections, I think that throughout the course of this year, this issue is only going to get worse. You're going to see more illegal immigration because of the presidential election. The word is going to get out. There's a presidential election in the United States. If you want to go, the policies could change. Go now. So that's something to look out for. The other thing I've been thinking about is why this is the #1 issue in New Hampshire and Iowa. And it's because it's one of those issues that has so many tentacles that touches upon other things. If you are already worried about national security, you look at the southern border and go, well, now I feel a whole lot worse. Think about the economy. How many millions of people are scrimping and saving only to see their hard-earned money and then tax dollars go to freebies for other people? So illegal immigration is one of those issues that magnifies other issues in this country. And then there's what's going on between the state and the federal government, Texas Governor Greg Abbott and President Biden. I don't know what's going to happen in that Supreme Court battle if it gets to that level again. There are real legal issues and concerns over his definition of the word invasion. And the Supreme Court has already ruled against him once. But could you imagine if he didn't try? And he just let Texas get smacked in the face with this issue? No responsible governor would ever do that. So even though he's maybe fighting a losing battle legally, he still has to try.
I love that point, Carly, so much. As former president of the Federalist Society, federalism is there for a reason. The states have to stand up for themselves. To Lisa's point earlier, when the federal government becomes bloated and bureaucratic and it's beyond behemoth size, that is what squishes the American people in the states. Tammy, I really wanted to get your thoughts on this because this is an interesting development and it speaks to the election impact and the fact that all Americans are impacted equally. So we have RFK Jr. standing with Governor Abbott, tweeting this. He says Texas is right. Biden's failure to secure the border leaves states no choice but to take matters into their own hands. As president, he says, I will end this humanitarian crisis once and for all. I will secure the border and destroy the business model of the drug cartels. A country without borders is not a country at all. What say you?
Well, and this is good news, for Democrats. You can be a Democrat and you understand because this affects the safety of your family. It affects whether or not your child's going to die of a drug overdose. It's about national security. If you have a young person who's thinking about joining the military, whether or not you really want to encourage them to do that. I wish Robert Kennedy was less of a liberal nut on every other issue. But this is good because when push comes to shove, we are all in this boat together, right? And I think that that's what, for the American people, what they see the White House not acknowledging, that they're underestimated, the American people are. We're treated like hamsters. It's as though the average American citizen doesn't exist or they don't count, because Biden is now in a position where they say that he's acknowledged it's a crisis and they're trying to fix it, and yet then they're going to go down and cut razor wire to make it easier for people to get through, to have more of an incentive at a most dangerous crossing point. This is not the entire border. It's not the legal points of entry. It's a dangerous point of coming over. And so now he's going to be faced with that. I love seeing the Republicans band together. That is a change, that states can do something. We're just not all going to be victims. That's a key reminder for the American people, for the voters, that you are not helpless in this situation. And that's why I think it really rings a bell with people.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.